VenomousStare back with Game 3 of Maru vs. Dark. It's a Terran versus Zerg at a very high level. Both of these guys are GSL caliber Korean pro gamers. Quite simply, it's the best of the best. It's Zerg, it's Terran, it's really what you signed up for if you're a subscriber of mine and someone who loves StarCraft, because quite frankly, in my opinion, this is the most exciting and compelling matchup in the entire game. And it's two of the most exciting players. Spawning in the bottom left, the Saiyan Prince of Marines, the intellectual heir to Marine King Prime, except better, it's Maru, formerly of Prime, Gen Air. I don't know if he's still on Gen Air or not, but he was on Gen Air for a hot minute. And his opponent, Dark. I would argue that if they were still on Gen Air, they should have the clan tag. I'm not quite sure though, as Pro League has, well, you know, it's passed. So it's pretty much just solo leagues at this point. We see that Dark here is opting for Gas Pool in addition to a Fast Expo. And a Reaper is on the way here for Maru, and he's going to Expo, I believe. 400 minerals, boom, there's the expansion. So let's talk about each player. Top right, we got Dark. If you don't know anything about Dark, think about him as the intellectual successor of Nest T. He scouts, he plays safe, he does intelligent things, he reads his opponent, he makes a lot of drones. This is the sort of guy that you want to copy if you're attempting to be a macro Zerg. Very, very good player with 4 Lings and 2 Queens on the way for this Reaper. Maru, now this is almost certainly the most popular player. This guy is a Korean pro gamer who always favors aggressive play, loves drops. I mean, this guy can't get enough of drops. He's going to check the third, see that nothing's there, see that nothing is over here, I'm sure. Or at least he's going to be able to deduce that. Almost no one takes this third. This is what I like to call the Catalina third base, where whenever you have maps that have this design where you got your main base and you got your natural, and then you have your entire main base plateau, and right below it is a third. Those thirds are so hard to defend because Terran can just pressure at the third, and then if something goes wrong, pick everything up in a medevac and drop your main. That's why you see Zerg players opting for this third, because if you push this third, which is very common, and you attempt to pick up, a lot of times your ability to drop is very limited. It's sort of this little area, which is almost always creeped and can sometimes be spored, whereas your main is very often uncreeped and significantly less defended. And of course this third is way more open. There's a lot more attack angles, as you could come in through these rocks, through this ramp, or through this ramp. However, this third is pretty much just this ramp. Of course, this one is going up a ramp, which is disadvantageous. Maru already has his natural alive and kicking, and he's going for a Viking. Now, I nicknamed this Viking the Pult Viking because Pult Prime sort of popularized this. Now, I asked Pult in real life when I met him at DreamHack Austin, Pult, did you invent this Viking play? This sort of thing where you go for one early Viking to hunt down Zerg overlords to make it very easy to hunt out overlords. And then in addition, like the reason people make this overlord is all they have to do, or this Viking, excuse me, is all they have to do is shift move a move commands, and they can kill the overlords. And then right after that, oh man, the dropping starts. If you make this first overlord, it becomes very, very difficult for the Zerg to adapt, overlord-wise. And personally, I think this overlord is so powerful. I mean, and when I say overlord, I meant Viking. This Viking is so powerful because you sort of make the tech lab and pretend like you're going Banshee. Instead, you go double upgrade, you make the one overlord, and then every single drop you do for the rest of the game is going to have way less vision. Do you see any overlords here? Do you see any overlords here? No. Okay. That means the Viking did its job. Let's look at the Ovies. Base, 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 base. See, the reason Maru made that over that Viking is I keep misspeaking here repeatedly, as quite frankly, once you make this Viking, you gain an insane amount of map control. This is one of those things where you don't really need to get a lot of kills, sort of like a Banshee. You could argue, well, if you're going to get Banshee and you're going to get Cloak, you're going to have to get a few drone kills to justify it. But with this Viking, that's not really the case. You make the Viking, and if the Zerg sees you making the Viking, they shit their pants and say, oh, no, I can't deal with that. I don't want to lose 6 Overlords. Let me just pull everything back and suddenly not have any vision where the Terran drops are going to be. So as a dropping Terran player, Maru definitely understands where the power in his build lies. And he definitely understands, look, if I make a Viking here, suddenly things become a lot more difficult for Zerg. As we see an Overseer here, which is sort of the scouting option for a Zerg. Now, Dark does have the energy for a Changeling here, and he sees it's going to be Bio. Now, newbie Zerg players, you might be asking, well, how do I know if it's Mech or Bio? If there's multiple barracks and one of them is searching an upgrade, it's Bio. If there's multiple Evo chambers and they're whirling away, it's Bio. So that's a very easy way to understand whether it's Mech or Bio. And Dark is going to get pushed out here with the Scout. But he has scouted the initial important thing. Does he have a third, and is it Mech or Bio? Now Maru went for a relatively greedy build. He only went for 2 Hellions. Now this sort of says to me, okay, I know the Zerg player isn't going to cheese me, and I'm going to go for a macro game. I really want to pump my Medivacs out and get into Bio Tank here. That's 2 Hellions. If he was playing someone like Rogue, who is more likely to cheese, maybe he gets the 6 Hellions. But we can see that Maru, formerly of Prime, is attempting to tech into tank here. And he's going to scan here as Dark pushes up with some Lingbane. This forward depot is in jeopardy. I absolutely love this forward depot that sort of says, here I am, world. I'm going to defend my natural and my third. Now, oftentimes Korean Terran players elect to just rally everything right-clicked onto a depot, sort of out in the middle here. And a drop is going to go down here onto the third base of Dark. Brilliant move to have a siege tank or 2 sieged up here on this high ground. If we go to the vision of the Zerg player, it's very hard to engage. Bane's coming up here, but Hellbat is here. Lots of Zerg here. A plethora of Hydras is already out. And Maru is going to land the Viking and attempt the pressure out here. Now, without tanks, this is way harder for Maru, until the reinforcements arrive, that is. As soon as this tank gets sieged, this base is going to die, and suddenly our macro Zerg is quite simply reduced to 3 bases. And our Terran player, Maru, the aggressive drop-heavy Terran, is alive and kicking. 2 more reactors going down there. And with that 4th base being annihilated, Maru's feeling good, as the general rule of thumb is Terran wants to be on the same amount of bases as Zerg. 2-2 on the way for Dark, as well as Hydra speed. And Dark is just attempting to make more Hydras, and quite frankly, just build a force that is going to be able to hold his 4th. Does he have a Lurker Den? Nope. He's just going for Hydra Link Bane. Both players have 2-2 on the way. Love to see this. And Maru at this point is going to push out into the other base of Dark. Now, very frequently in TVZ you see, okay, my 4th base died way out here, I'll try to take the other 4th. Well, this 4th is actually easier to attack, as we see more siege tanks being sieged up on the high ground. Stim Bio going down. Dark's probably going to lose it, and he cancels. Ling Bane coming forward here. In addition to some Hydra, Banes go off. Hydra's pretty much unsupported until these Banes arrive, and they do. But Maru, as I said before, can quite simply pick up and drop into the main, as I stated before. I would like to state that these VODs are not previewed. I haven't watched these replays. I never watched these games live. This is a very simple sort of setup as far as TBZ goes, and Catalina is a great example of this. as Maru can easily attack the third, then pick up and drop. And it looks like he's going to get the macro hatch here. This is a big deal as Dark really needs this macro hatch to reproduce. But he has a lot of Hydra here, and he's going to move in with the Hydraling Bane. Maru's going to stem back, try to kite into his tanks, pick off the Banes. Decent focus fire there for Maru, our Prince of Marines. And if we look at Maru, he does have a 4th base. I expect this to become a planetary fortress pretty quick. This 3rd base did die, or I guess it's a 4th, but this 4th base still isn't up yet. And Maru is at a base advantage, which is very peculiar for Terran. It's a very big advantage for Terran. He's upgrading air armor. He's already upgraded ground armor as far as mech goes. He's producing lots of bio as well as tanks. And like I said before, everything going to be rallied to this depot. Notice that Maru is going to aggress onto the perceived 4th base as he drops this bottom side. Textbook Terran. Drop the side that you're not attacking with your main army. This will force Zerg to make incredibly difficult decisions. You clear the creep to it, becomes very hard. Here comes the Hydra Bane and Dark GG's. So there's the Prince of Marines. What an absolutely filthy textbook game there. I'm going to rewind a little bit. So as I said before, this 4th base is the one you want to take because this base is very, very droppable. Maru proves how droppable this is with some Marine tank. He does quite a bit of damage and runs away. And after killing these bases, it's 4 bases to 3 in favor of Terran. Now all Terran has to do is split up their army in an intelligent position, especially considering Zerg has not gone for Lurker here. And Maru is going to double drop at the south position while moving his Marine tank down up into the north position. And we can speed it up, quite honestly, is because we know what happens. So let's just watch Dark's vision. He's in this position where he's like, well crap, I'm down in supply, everything I need has to go south, but then again, there's an army that I can't deal with up in the north. So make sure you subscribe for more. It's been VenomousStare.